We're taking a closer look at the result of a child abuse case in Clovis tonight in which the defendant's young son died. As part of a plea deal, Rocio Montanez received a 3-year deferred sentence from the judge.
That means she'll be on probation, and if she follows the stipulations, the judge can then throw the charge out and wipe her record clean. ABC 7's Maria Serrano went to Clovis to find out why the deal was made.
I came to the district courthouse to speak to Chief Deputy District Attorney Brian Stover, who in this case was a lawyer in charge on the state's behalf.
You asked why I agreed to do this. I think it's important for people to understand prosecutors have a limited number of resources, but the prosecutors that we have in this state are dedicated to seeking justice in each and every case.
Stover, who has been prosecuting this case for 5 years now, tells me in a case like this, having to do with child abuse, it is somewhat unusual for a judge to suspend or defer a sentence.
In this case, the facts were unusual. We had some issues with our pathologist who left a week before trial and refused to come to court and put us in a tight spot. I can't get a continuance of the case, so we had to move forward with what we had, and then we reached a compromise plea. It's not what I wanted to do, but when the pathologist refused to come back, I felt that I really didn't have a choice. I needed her to get something rather than to risk her being acquitted and have no accountability.
He says in this case, unfortunately, this plea was what was best. But it all began like this.
Noah Trujillo was 18 months old when he gets taken to the hospital, and he dies, and it's clear that he has some injuries. So they send him for an autopsy. It took over a year for us to receive that autopsy back because they really weren't sure what caused his death.
Ultimately, it was determined he had a heart attack, and then the investigation began.
Throughout that process, we were able to determine that on 3 separate occasions, a man by the name of Christopher Waltrip had injured the child, one time to his face, one time to his arm, one time to his ribs. We then charged Rocio Montanez with permitting that abuse to happen.
But given his limited options, Stover says the deferred sentence was the only option available that still carried some punishment. In Clovis, Maria Serrano, ABC 7 News.
Now, Montanez already spent 7 months in jail while waiting for trial.
If she breaks the conditions of her probation, the deferred sentence would be revoked and she would spend the rest of her sentence behind bars.